Alright, today I'm going to be showing you how to remove your belt drive pump from your pressure washer. I'm going to be removing a General TSS 1511 from a Honda 13 horsepower GX 390. So, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be removing this cover to expose the belt. In order to do so, I'm going to be removing 8 screws here. And once I get those off, I'll be sliding the cover away from the wheels. So let's get that done. Okay, so I've got the 8 screws out, and now I'm just going to slide it out toward the front of the machine, away from the tires. So, just slide that right out, exposing my belt, and that's going to be the very first step. Alright, so the next step we're going to do here is we're going to be removing these 3 pulley bolts from the pulley here. I'm actually going to loosen them evenly. I'm not going to remove one all the way first. I'll kind of go around loosening them all evenly, and also keep in mind that this pulley will still spin as I'm removing them. It's not completely locked in, and you'll see that as I do the job. So here we go. You see there, it wants it to move. It's pretty normal. So go ahead and get them all loose. Kind of doing them evenly for the most part. Now that they're all loose, they're not holding a weight anymore. I can just go ahead and pull them out. So now once I got these out, I pulled them out of these 3 holes. Pulled them out of these 3 holes here. I'm actually going to reset them in to the other holes that were available that there was no bolt in. And what this is going to do is these screws themselves are going to force the pulley away from the pump shaft. And you will see that happen as I tighten these down. When I tighten these down, I'm actually going to do that evenly, going around, slowly tightening them down, just getting them in until I feel a little resistance there. So right there, I got resistance on all of them. I'm just going to tighten these down. Give it one crank there. One crank there. A few cranks there. And like I said, I'm really evenly applying that pressure. And if you watch this, this is actually pulling this away from the machine every step I take. You can actually start to see it move there as I tighten these down. And it's important this is done evenly, nice and even. And now I have it pretty much screwed all the way in. I've got all 3 of them, probably about 1/4 of an inch away from the very bottom. This is pretty much loose at this point. You can see how much it's moved, because this at one point was flush here, and now it's kind of pulled away from it. Now I'm really just going to grab it and pull it off of this bushing, they call it. One thing you want to be careful is the inside of this is pretty sharp almost all the time, so you don't want to cut your hands up in there. So let's see. Alright, so now that I've got the pulley off here, and I've exposed the bushing, is what some people refer to this part as. I'm going to want to remove the bushing from the shaft here. And to do that, if you look along this rim, you'll eventually find a opening there. And if we look down into that opening, there's actually a set screw down in there that you got to remove with an Allen key. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And in this unit, it's a 1/8 of an inch Allen key that I'm using to remove this. So get in there and slowly back this out. And once I back that set screw out, this bushing will come right out. And just so you can get a look at that set screw, see, I can get it all the way out. It's not really required to pull it all the way out, but that's all it is. It's a set screw that goes all the way through, and it'll essentially push down here to hold the bushing to the shaft. That's all it does. So I'm actually just going to leave that back inside of its thread so I don't lose it. So that could stay there for now. Put this to the side. I got one more step here to remove the pump, and that's going to be removing the pump from the frame, which we will do by removing the 4 carriage bolts. Alright, so now, like I said, the final step, we'll be removing the 4 bolts that are holding this frame that the pump is attached to the actual skid here, the cart that your pump is on. So it should be just 4 more bolts. Like I said, it's going to be a 14mm deep socket, and I'm also just going to use a wrench to hold the top of the bolt while I undo the screws. There's one. Okay. So on this side, these bolts are a little more hidden, harder to get to because of the pump. So I'm using a 15mm on an extension, and I'm using a 14mm socket just to kind of hold it from the bottom. You can see here, my pump is almost ready to come off. Alright, so one more bolt here. That one's kind of hidden in the back. Okay, so now I'm going to remove those last two bolts. I'm using an 11 millimeter deep socket to get those off. These bolts, when we reinstall the pump, they're going to be used to adjust the tension on it. And you'll probably see me doing all that in a follow-up video on this very same machine where I'll be reinstalling a new pump. Almost off there. As you can see, it's a very long thread, so it takes a little while to get that off of there. Just got to do one more here. Now that second tensioner screw is out, there's my pump. I'm going to come up here, the real last step here. We'll be removing these four just to get this frame off of here. 9 times out of 10 when you buy a belt-drive pump, it will come with these rails. So you would essentially have a new set of rails with your new pump anyway. So if you would need to, you could remove these to save them for your next pump. But like I said, most of the time it'll just come with a new set of rails, and that's pretty much it.